Now, let's begin.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I had to retake this video because I had a 20-minute review and spoilers of it and realized my mic was not connected to my camera, and I don't want y'all to have a horrible issues with my mic. I want you to hear every ounce of the spoilers and review of the spectacular season of The Tourist. So anywho, this is a Tourist review and heavy spoilers of episode 3. And here we go. And like I said, all 6 episodes are already on Netflix. If you kind of interested about this and you don't want no spoilers, go ahead and dip out and watch it. You won't be disappointed. So far, episode 3 is good. So anywho, how this starts is there's a voiceover. A guy is Greek, I guess. He's talking, and these people are in this middle of the woods, and there's 2 guys was getting ready to shoot a wild boar. The voiceover says, we grow up, things change, simple pleasures become complicated and expensive. And he says when you're young, you shoot for food, but when you get older, you kind of do it for sport. And when he says everything gets more expensive, they walk out of the woods because they shot the boar, and their help pulls the boar out. And he basically talks about that kind of thing, and it goes for them back to their house. While the food is being prepared, the guy eats it. And I guess it's him, his brother, or him, or somebody he knows. I don't know what the other guy is. I'm thinking they're brothers. It appears they might be kind of drug cartels or something other. And at one point, the other guy says, "What? I can tell you're not being fulfilled." He said, "We both know what you really want. What there's one hunt that matters and gives you what you need." He kind of looks at him. He's like, Elliot Stanley. And then after that, the camera goes to where Elliot and the waitress Lucy is. And Elliot's like, "How do you know me?" She said, "Well, about 6 months ago, we kind of met up at a hotel or at a airport, I guess, an airport, where we kind of hit it off. We got drunk. We had plans to go. Each one had a flight to go to, and we canceled on each other. Canceled the flight to be with each other, and we just shacked up in a hotel." He said, "I must really, really, really like you." She said, "Yeah, you did." And he said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, the guy came to the hotel trying to unalive us, and you broke his neck. And after you broke his neck, basically you told me you don't deserve to be around me. You need to go home and all that. Well, when she went to Australia, he followed her because he was obsessed with her and calling her 5 minutes and wanted to know where she's at because he really cares about her. And that's when he went to Australia and got in a car wreck and lost his memory." And she said, let's see, they kind of talked here and there. Kind of, you can tell where it's going. They basically, you were so this and this. We kind of, we had chemistry, but really we're like oil and water. We don't mix very well when we kind of sober up and stuff. And eventually, they're in separate rooms at that particular old town. And eventually he goes to her room, and they get jiggy with it, if you know what I'm saying. And at that point, the chief cop and the chief investigator and the local cop goes to that particular town looking around for him, the guy with no memory, Elliot. And they were just talking here, and it cuts back to let's see here, the cowboy going to where Helen's house is, because you remember he took a picture of her information, so he knows where she lives. So he goes to her house looking for her, and Ethan's there. Well, Ethan opens the door. "Can I help you?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm Detective so-and-so for Helen. I'm looking for her. Do you know where she's at?" He said, No, she's not here, but come in here and we'll talk about it." And he was going off, about it. he's concerned about Helen and all this stuff. And the cowboy's like, I really need to know where she's at. He's getting frustrated. You can tell he's very anxious. And Ethan's like, oh, well, it's this and this. So much that while he was turning his back on the cowboy had a gun towards him, getting ready to pop him. Then all of a sudden, Ethan was talking. He's like, yeah, I can't believe she went to this location. And the cowboy's like, oh, she did, didn't she? And he put his gun in there and tells Ethan, well, you have a good day. And Helen is one very lucky person to have you. He walks out. And let's see here. Give me one moment. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Elliot, after they got jiggy with it the next morning, before he wakes up, he got the same kind of vision of that lady in the windowsill. He also remembers a suitcase on the bed beside of her, and then he wakes up. After he wakes up, he opens the blinds, and then in the corner of the blinds, he don't see it, but Sue sees the chief detective and the local cop. She's like, oh, they're here. They're going to see us, and they basically get the stuff and they go behind and leave the back way of the hotel. And while that's happening, before that, Helen went to B&B where Elliot was staying, and Elliot wasn't there, of course, so she just spent a night there. When she woke up, Sue at the B&B saw her and gave her some coffee and asked her to come in. And she's like, why are you here? She's like, I really need to see Elliot because there's some people out there that really want to come after him. And that's the reason, because she was curious why she really cares about Elliot. And she's not even a detective. She's just a local PD, basically. And while that's going on, the camera goes back to the chief detective and the local cop. They're around that particular small town looking for Elliot. They got a picture of Elliot and said, have you seen this guy? One of the guys walking by is like, yeah, I know that guy. And he's like, can you take us where you took him? He's like, yeah. So they got in a helicopter and left. Camera changes back to Elliot and the waitress, Lucy, and they're kind of Elliot's getting a little bit frustrated about the situation. His memory, she knows him, but he don't know her, yada, yada, yada. And you can tell there's a little bit of, oil and water kind of not going together too well. And a couple times they're getting ready to just go ahead and walk away because the emotions getting high, right? And while that's going on, it goes back to the young cop and the chief detective trying to figure stuff out. And the young cop, because basically, again, the detective gets a call. He looks at the watch and he calls exactly at 10 o'clock. The young cop asks why, and he's like, well, I always did that when I was taking chemo and I got really sick. It kind of grounded me to call people I love to make sure they're okay to live in the moment because life's short, kind of thing. And the young cop's like, are you okay? He's like, well, I called her still, didn't I? So I guess he's still sick because you saw in a prior episode he kind of got sick behind the police department. But anywho, let's see here. And then, like I said, that's the same time when they found the guy with the helicopter. They're going to take him to the location. So when the camera goes back to Helen being at the B&B waiting on Elliot. Well, Elliot and Lucy finally, it's like, you know what? We just need to go separate ways. We're going to go back to the B&B, drop me off, and you go your way, I go my way. It's like, all right. Elliot gets back to B&B and then walking into the hotel, and then Lucy said, I'm going to go. Well, as soon as he walks to the hotel or B&B and sees Helen and starts talking to her, and as soon as he does that, here comes Lucy for some reason, wants to talk. And she noticed they had the cell phone. And she's like, what's that for? He's like, oh, well, it's broken. It's done here. We're going to charge it and see if there's anything on it to see if there's anything we can see, right? But he's like, why are you here, Helen? She's like, well, and she stops and she's like, because of him. And outside of the B&B is the cowboy with a shotgun coming towards him, getting ready to shoot and shoot and shoot. While that's going on, the B&B owner is Sue is out. Is not there. She's out doing a grocery run. Her husband is still there at the house, but he is in the couch watching TV, and he can't hear what's going on behind him. All the frustration, all the guns going back and forth. He can't hear it, right? Well, when the cowboy's still shooting, all the other people ran to hide. He comes through the door. He shoots the TV. The death guy, gets up and shoots him. I wish they didn't shoot him. He didn't do nothing wrong. And then the cowboy's looking around trying to find, Helen, or not Helen and I guess Elliot. At one point, the cowboy turns his back. Helen comes up and points a gun at him. It's like, drop it, whatever kind of thing. He's like, you're not going to shoot me. And he's getting ready to just hurry up and shoot her. And no, actually, before that, she's like, I'll shoot you. He's like, you won't. And she tries to shoot him, hits a wall way past him and like missing about a mile. Then he's like, okay. He gets ready to shoot her. Elliot steps in and throws her down along the ground, saves her life. While that's going on, the cowboy's like, ha, 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 I got you now. And he goes to try to kill both of them at the same time. At that time, Lucy hits the cowboy with a knife or something and kind of gets him all disoriented and stuff. So I think Helen hides somewhere else and them two flee. Well, the cowboy follows them to a place where like a old barn or something on the property. And at the old property, he's walking around. The camera goes back to Helen, and Helen's looking at the Sue's husband and find out he is deceased. Goes back to where the cowboy is looking for Elliot and Lucy, and they found Lucy, and he's getting ready to shoot her. Then Elliot hits him with a crowbar. He's bloody up on his face, his neck, everything. He stumbles across the ground and goes to a deep well and passes away, supposedly. It's a funny joke. Elliot's like, well. I like that humor. It's just my kind of cup of tea, I guess you say. But anywho, they done that. Let's see here. I'm just reading all this right here. When that happened, Ellen goes back to the police department, and I guess Ethan found out that she got shot at. Well, Ethan's like, "Oh, are you okay? I can't live without you. You're my fiance." And you can tell Helen's like really was pleased. It melted her heart to see him actually care, because times before he's been a jerk to her. He's like, "I love you so much. Please come with me. Come home with me." And she kind of give him a look like, I gotta stay. He's like, no, come home. She's like, he saved my life, Ethan. I need to help him out. He's like, well, don't come home then. She's like, Ethan. He's like, no, I don't want nothing to do with you anymore. Who else would have you? And it was just being very rude, and he just disrespected her and said, don't even come home. And gets in his car and leaves. And then Helen goes back to the B&B to see if there's anything she could figure out and talk to Elliot. Now, when she goes back to the B&B, she sees the oil barrel phone that Elliot and Lucy had. Well, when she takes it and goes out, and then he comes Elliot back. I don't know what happened to. They still had a little Elliot after they took care of the cowboy. They both went their separate ways again. They had a little tiff again. She went home, and Elliot went to the B&B B&B hotel. So he's walking back and sees Ellen, and he's like, "Are you okay? How you doing?" He's like, "I'm doing all right." Well, scene before that, the chief detective and the local cop went to the location of the helicopter where they was earlier and found the oil barrel guy and reported it. Well, fast forward to Helen and Elliot. Somebody spoke over her radio and says, be on the lookout for that dark-headed Irish man that had no memory. There's a risk that he might have killed somebody. And he hears this. He's like, Helen, it's not what you think. She's like, just come with me and we'll figure this out together. Somehow he got close to her, takes her gun, and points at her. He says, give me the keys. She gives him the keys. He opens the door. He gets so frustrated and slams the door. She's like, don't hurt me. He's like, get in the car. He's like, why? She's like, I can't remember how to drive a stick. My humor. I like how they kind of sprinkle in a little bit of the humor in it. But anywho, she gets in the car with him, and he got the gun on, and she drives. She said, I got to get home at 4. The reason she got to get home at 4 because her and her fiance is having like dance lessons from some guy there. And plus, she wants to make it up, trying to see if there's any hope to resolve their issues they have. Well, while she's driving down the road, trying to talk Elliot down and to make sense, he's looking at his phone, trying to the crack phone that the oil barrel guy had, and he can't see nothing, but he sees a number and he's trying to figure it out. Well, while he's doing that, over where Lucy walking home, she kicks a soccer in the yard, and you can tell the camera was behind a window with a curtain. You can tell somebody's sitting there. While she's getting ready to go up the porch and cross in the other room, you can see the cowboy with the baseball bat getting ready to hit her. And she drops her keys. You can see her shadow goes below, and it's kind of a window and some wood there of the front porch. Well, he was getting ready to hit the window, and the camera goes back to Elliot. He gets frustrated with the phone, can't figure anything out, throws it. He accidentally hits a button or hits something on the screen, and it calls Cowboy Guy. As soon as he gets ready to wind up to hit Lucy, his phone rings, and he tries to answer it or turn it off. Then Lucy knows there's somebody there, and she hits the door and kind of jars the cowboy, and they kind of said a couple words. She says, "How are you still alive?" He said, "I asked the same question about you, Lucy." And he goes there and gets ready to hit her, and then goes black. End of the episode. So basically, that's everything in a nutshell what happened. Hopefully that story made sense. If not, I thank you for lasting 17 minutes on the story time, I guess you could say. But what I like about it is that this is a whole lot better than the second episode. The second episode was a little bit, I wouldn't say dry, it was just a little bit slow pace. Dare I say a filler, maybe? They shouldn't have a filler. If you have 6 episodes, you shouldn't have a filler episode. But if it's kind of to calm down a little bit, kind of get more of the structure of the characters, I get it. But 3, almost on the same par as 1. It was really, really good. And, yeah. And I'll watch episode 4 tomorrow and, watch it, review it, and spoil it for everybody and go from there. All right. I'll catch y'all later.